Not gonna lie, I've been in immigration for years, working with immigration lawyers, ministers of immigration, and this new update really scares me. So let's break down what happened. Enjoy my analysis. I hope we together can navigate the process and make sure that you can benefit and take the most out of what happened. But yeah, things aren't looking great. There is a student cap on international students. Canada has just officially mimicked Australia. Now there is a limit on how many students can study and more. So let's dive into it. On the agenda today, we have the cap, we have no more post-grad work permits for public private institutions. So say goodbye to private colleges. 3-year work permit for master's and graduate level short programs. That's a very interesting one. And no more spousal open work permits for spouses of bachelor's or college program students, which is quite sad. Let's start from the most scary one, the scariest. So, the student cap. Let's talk about it. Here's the thing. Minister Mark Miller came out and said, we're going to cut the international student program by 35%. That would equal to about 364,000 international students allowed into the country a year. And this cap applies for 2 years with a possible reassessment at the end of 2024 to set a new target for 2025. It might be lower, might be higher. Now here's the problem. A big problem. According to IRCC, the distribution will be provincial, right? So they give the province a number, a quota, and they tell the province, hey, you do whatever you want with it, give the numbers to whichever school you think makes more sense. However, the big issue here that I see that not many people realize is, how are we going to implement this? How can we make sure that we get exactly 364,000 students? Because if you think about it, out of 10 international students who apply for a visa, let's say 6 of them get it, only 4 will arrive in Canada. So 2, because of one thing or another, don't leave their home country or don't come to Canada. If we apply the same policy on this, if we limit to 364,000 students a year, but we cap the number of visas issued to this same number, we risk getting much fewer international students. And what's that gonna do? Obviously, we're gonna have some negative effects on the economy, on the labor market, on the housing market, because let's not forget, many of those students graduate from trade schools. They are carpenters, electricians, and so on. So I think we need them. How are they going to implement it? That's a big question, and that's yet to be seen. Next, let's talk about another big problem is money for private institutions. So let's say that you tell a university that, hey, now there's going to be caps. That school needs to maximize profits. So naturally, they will want more students to pursue the most profitable programs, such as business. But what about study programs where it costs the school a lot of money to maintain, like nursing? You need to buy equipment, you need to buy some MRIs and all of that expensive stuff that doctors and nurses need to study. How do you do that? Well, if it's not profitable for you, you probably want fewer students to pursue that program. So instead, you're going to push for business programs like Masters of Business Administration or some business programs, something that's low cost, high profits. That's a big risk I see, a big problem. Moving on. No pgwps for sketchy schools. This is actually a good one because we want to maintain Canada's brand and reputation as a great destination for international studies. So if you go to a private public type arrangement school, you'll no longer be eligible to receive a postgrad work permit, which is, I think it's fair. I always, at least with my community, I always warn you against those schools. Next, study masters or doctoral get rewarded with a pgwp that's 3 years long. This is new. Up until now, let me remind you if you didn't know, If you studied for 1 year, you get a 1 year postgrad work permit. If you studied for 2 years or more, you get a 3 year pgwp. And this is regardless of what study program you pursue. However, now with the new policy, if you go and study a 1 year master's or another graduate level program, you'll be essentially rewarded with a 3 year pgwp, so you'll stay in the country for longer. Plus, you can bring your spouse on an SOWP, spousal open work permit. This is a big thing, a huge one. So now, as this point says, the fourth one, if you study at a bachelor's level or college level program, you will no longer be allowed to invite your spouse on a spousal open work permit. So now only these folks who study master's, PhD will be able to invite their spouses. You might be asking, oh, what if I'm already in Canada, I'm studying, can I not invite my spouse, or can they not extend their PGWP? We're yet to see that, but I'm pretty sure with what the minister hinted, they will introduce some changes to that for the future students. So for applicants for PGWP, current applicants, not holders of PGWPs or study permits, right? So I would not be too worried about this if you're in Canada right now on a study permit or PGWP. But for all of you coming to Canada, what can you do to prepare? What can you do if you want to study in Canada and get PR? Well, looking at this, first of all, it's going to be more competitive to get your study permit because, as you can see, they cut the number of students we intake significantly by 35%. So you need to make sure your study permit application is as strong as it can be. Second, I would also prioritize master's or graduate level programs if you can. If let's say you're a mature student, I know that many of my viewers are that. Third, I would also look into programs that lead to permanent residency. You can try out our PR indicator. It's a new free tool that tells you if your job leads to PR in the future. I'm going to link it in the description. And yeah, those are the three things I would say you need to do if you want to be successful in the years to come as an international student. We'll see more. This was a very urgent update. This is why it's not your typical highly edited and produced video, but please tell me your thoughts. And as always, if you are struggling with something, you're not sure, feel free to book a time in the description. I will see you all somewhere in Canada, hopefully, and let's go through it together.